What's up, guys? Welcome to Small Groups. I'm so glad that you guys are here at Cow today. It is a joy to be connecting with you. We had fun in large group. Now we're going to have fun here. Over the last few weeks, we've been going through a series where we've really simply just been looking at what are we in Cow about? What are the things that we want to be central, core to our Cow community? First, we always want Cow to be fun. We want Cow to be about community. We want to be serious about service and serving the people in our community and also the people around the world who we see as needing help and support. And the most important thing, what we're talking about today, what I want you to talk about in your small groups, is that in Cow, we want to be serious about following Jesus. We want to be serious about following Jesus, and this is very practical. We think it is so important that when we stay connected to Jesus, then that is when we are able to have impact in this world. That is when we are able to live the lives that we're made to live. That's when we're able to fulfill the purpose that God has in our lives, and that's when we are really able to come to terms with who we are made at our core, when we stay close to Jesus. I want to tell you a story from the Gospel of Matthew. It's from Matthew chapter 14. I imagine most of our small groups have read this already, but I want to share it with you here again. Here is the Gospel of Matthew. It says, "Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side, while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. They said, 'It's a ghost!' And they cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, 'Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid.' 'Lord, if it's you,' Peter replied, 'tell me to come to you on the water.' 'Come,' he said. And then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, 'Lord, save me.' And immediately Jesus reached out his hand, caught him, said, 'You have little faith. Why did you doubt?' And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were in the boat worshipped him, saying, 'Truly, you are the Son of God.'" Something you'll hear me say in Cal a lot is this line. I truly, genuinely believe it. That I think that you, our Cal community, will change the world. I think you have the capacity to do incredible things. I think all of us, we're really mindful of some of the brokenness in our world. This year, the last couple of years, we've been able to really see in sharp relief some of the challenges and the pain and the brokenness and the inequality and instability and ugliness of our world. I think the young people in our church, your peers, I think you are a lot of times are the most in tune, the most acutely aware of some of the difficulties and the challenges and the diversity of life and experience we see in our world. And the Jesus we see in the Bible is someone who cares deeply, deeply, deeply about those things. He models this life of living for the other. He models this life of going to those who are marginalized. He models a way of living where he goes intentionally towards those who are on the edge of society, those who need help. And our call as Jesus followers is to do likewise, to go into the world, to help people, to serve the poor, to serve those who are in need, to be people who are crying out into a world that is broken and shattered and unfixable, almost to cry out into that world saying, there is something more. There is a God who cares. There is a King who will restore, who will redeem. But as so many of us, we look from our safe space, we look out into the storm of the world and we think, how can we be part of fixing this? We look into the craziness around us. We think, where do we start? Where do we begin? We look out and it's just a sea of weirdness and craziness and discomfort. That's what Peter looked at. He stood on the edge of a boat and he looked at a stormy sea And Jesus said, come. He said, come to me. And so what Peter did, what he models for us, he does the exceptional. He jumps out of the boat and he does what nobody can do. He walks on the water. He walks towards Jesus, his eyes fixed on him. And you catch this, we've talked about this probably before. It's when he takes his eyes off Jesus, when he sees the craziness around him, when he's overwhelmed by the situation, the circumstance he's in, that's when he begins to sink. And when he does, Jesus is there. He catches him and he pulls him up, and I like to imagine that they walked together back to the boat. That Peter again walked on water with Jesus. Because when we keep our eyes fixed on Jesus, when we stay connected to him, we are able to do more than we think we could. When we stay connected to Jesus, when our eyes are fixed on him, we as a Cow community can look into a world that doesn't know Jesus, that's broken and confused and concerned. We can look into that world and we can bring a hope and a peace that's bigger than anything we could do on our own because we're connected to Jesus. In John chapter 15, look this up on your own time maybe. In John chapter 15, Jesus says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If you want to bear fruit, if you want to go into the world and do good things, stay connected to me. I am the source of life. In Romans chapter 12, it says, do not be conformed to the pattern of this world. Don't be conformed to the world that it doesn't know Jesus and is confused and is concerned. He says instead, this is Paul speaking, instead be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Stay connected to Jesus. Look to him. Be transformed. Your mind will be transformed. Your life will be transformed, and you will be able to step forward out of the boat and do what is undoable. You will be able to step into the storm and be a voice of reason. We believe that God cares deeply about the things that we care about. He cares deeply about injustice, and he cares deeply about the poor. He cares deeply about those who are sick and are marginalized. He cares deeply about people who are bullied, who don't have a place to land, people with mental health and anxiety situations that seem unfixable. God cares deeply about them, and he wants us in the church to look in those seemingly unfixable things and say, no, we can be a part of redeeming this. Then the only way we can as a community is by staying connected to God and keeping our eyes on him. So Cow friends, let's talk about this together. What does this look like for us in our communities, in our small groups, to be a people who keep our eyes fixed on Jesus and step into the world knowing that we can be a part of healing what seems unhealable? Go ahead and talk about that in your small groups.